Hey guys, what's going on? My name is TJ and I am the owner of Murray Marketing Team. We focused on paid ads, so that's Google, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok now, LinkedIn, Pinterest. Although it's kind of ironic I said focused and then just listed off a kind of a long list. But anyway, that is what we do and doing a little bit of influencer marketing. And here's a picture of me playing volleyball in college. That is what I did. I am 6'9". So more facts about me in case you care. So anyway, this video is about what I think you need in terms of an ad spend budget to be effective in the ad buying space. So what I will say is a lot of people will tell you that you can start out with $5 and you can do that and you can scale from there and do things like that. A lot of people say you can use $5 a day and you can do testing that way. I would say yes, you can. I would tell you two things. One, your learning curve will be a lot longer. So if you have a lot of time to wait and you feel like you know what you're looking for from a data perspective to say, this is working, this is not, now we're ready to scale from $5, that's okay. I encourage a little bit higher of an ad spend, as you'll see when we get in here, just because of the fact that I believe from what I've seen from the really the Meta algorithm now, Facebook Meta, same thing, is that within a 30-day window, you have to have enough data rolling in for it to be able to make adjustments and to make changes that are keeping the data rich. And I don't feel right now that $5 a day is enough. I've definitely done the $5 a day thing, but once I was able to, save up some more money and then kind of throw in a larger chunk of change, I was able to see bigger changes. So what I want to be clear too is I'm not saying dump all your money into ads and lose it all. I think you need to watch enough videos, make sure you're consuming the right content, I would say on that, but make sure you're watching the right videos that are kind of helping you build strategy and thought behind, your execution piece behind it. And I will say Meta has done a nice job, as well as Google, as kind of making a little bit of this a little bit more automated. So a couple pieces there. So let's get into it. So if my slide would switch here. All right, so the first thing when we're talking about here is establishing your Facebook advertising budget. So the first step to determining your Facebook advertising budget is to understand the numbers related to the marketing and sales of your business. For most of my clients, the goal is to make money, which means they're focused on getting leads and making sales. Typically, a marketing budget for any business is 5 to 12% of the revenue. Now, I would say take the 5 to 12% of the revenue, throw it out the window. I think you need to do what makes sense for your business. If that's 2% and that at least gets you started, that's fine. If it's 30% and you feel comfortable with that, it really is up to you and where you feel that you fall in terms of your comfortability. There you go. Anyway, so that's what I would recommend on that front. Now, when I say know your numbers, I mean you need to know the lifetime value. So if you bring in a lead, how long are they going to stay around? What's your churn rate? What's it cost to acquire them? And so a lot of this, you might be saying, well, I haven't launched ads, so I don't have any idea where that is at. So and I totally understand that, but I would say it's important to get an idea of what you're willing to spend to bring in a lead and then test and see what it takes. So find your threshold, figure out, what are all the things you can do to lower it, and then that helps you identify what channels are most effective. So like I said, the numbers you need to know, your cost per lead. First, what's an appropriate cost per lead for your business? A lead isn't a sale, but it is what you need to get before you make a sale. So just because you got the lead does not mean it's a sale. I'm going to be very clear on that. Some people are like, oh, I've generated 1,000 leads. Well, did you close 1,000 leads? No, you didn't. You probably closed, I don't know, if you're killing it, 10% of your leads or 5% or not even. But anyway, that's the thing to keep in mind. So it's the quality of the lead, right? We want to focus on what is the quality of the lead. And that comes down to the process after you bring in the lead. And so the heavy lifting is really after, in my opinion, but setting up the ad account is important to get to that point. So now we're talking about cost per customer acquisition. A lot of these things you'll notice kind of go together, but you'll also need to determine what a strong cost per customer acquisition is for your business. How much money do you have to spend to bring that customer in? So not to just generate the lead again, but cost to bring them in and fully set them up, fill, whatever the fulfillment process looks like. Whether you're selling a $50 like a lead item or, a $10,000 thing, those conversion metrics will look different. So your conversion rate, look at your conversion rates as well. Whether you have sales team or selling something directly online, determine how many leads you need to get on the phone, to get an appointment to make that sale. Those are a couple of the things that I think initially you need to pay attention to. And then the value of your lead, so your lifetime value. For me, I know if I bring in a lead for $100, $200, $300, $500, most of the time I have a really low churn rate in my agency. So we're able to know, hey, I'm willing to spend really way more than $500, but I know that I can get them in for typically around $30 to $100, and as long as they're quality and I'm able to get enough quantity in, that will pay off in the long term. Maybe not right away initially, but long term it continues to pay off. So those are a couple of the things to think about. Again, the main point I want to drive home on this is that when you're thinking about these numbers, you have to think about it by channel, because what it costs right now on TikTok to generate a lead is really, it's way more cost effective. So I really encourage people to check out TikTok on that end. But what it costs to generate on a lead on Facebook is a little bit more expensive than it used to be. Still effective when you set up your ad account correctly. And then Google. So Google's more expensive. I would say kind of the next tier after that. And then after that, it's LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the most expensive. So I don't really recommend anyone gets into LinkedIn unless they're at like $4,000 or $5,000 a month ad spend. But that's kind of a way to think about it, because if you're paying $5 for a click, just a click, not a conversion on Google, your costs might really rise. So initially, if you're trying to just get started, I think Facebook and TikTok are the best platform to get going. So how much money should you spend on Facebook ads? $1,500. I believe it's because you have enough time for the algorithm to go through its learning process, go through its learning cycle, for it to take all that data in and then say, hey, this is what's working, this is what's not. You can identify it and then continue to scale from there. Otherwise, if you're not doing that or spending at that level, I don't think it's enough. So, and then again, this budget also needs to reflect what your offer is. So if you're selling a $20,000 offer, you might get clicks, but not a lot of conversion. So you have to take those things into account as well. $1,500 is what I've seen to be the best to get started. So things to consider, factors that will affect your results. So your target audience, demographics that affect your Facebook ad costs are location, gender, language, interests, behavior, connections. Location, obviously, if you're zip code targeting, gender, language is also one. The interest part, how many interests are you trying out and testing behavior? Is it people that purchase? Is it people that add to cart? Is it people that have identified as someone who engages with a certain pages? And then connections. Are they connected to different people and things like that? The other part, placement of your ads. You can place your ads in multiple spaces. And actually, this is only a couple, but desktop, mobile, Instagram, and the audience network. Now, each of those has a different aspect ratio of sizing that you can put in there. And so those are important to keep in mind too. Next, when you look at the bid, price you pay for an auction of an ad space on Facebook. It can be either set manually or automatically. So as the bid increases, so does the probability of your ad being shown to your target audience. Quality and relevance of your ad and estimates of your interested person in your ad. Facebook calculates this based on the EQC scores: engagement, quality, conversion. So it is, and you'll see when you get into the ad accounts that it'll show you engagement, quality, conversion, and it'll show you how you rank in those. Average, above average, and then below average. I think those are there's actually 4 or 5 levels, I think. But I don't know. I'm trying to always stay above average is my goal. I think that's the highest one, which I wish they would have like a good option. But anyway, so those are things to keep in mind. I'll let you know how you're doing. But as those go down, it will increase your cost. And then other things to keep in mind: time of year, competition. So how many people are in the space? Now, right now, it's, 2022, September 7th. So a lot of people pulled off the market or pulled off their ad spend right now because technically we're in a recession, I think. I'm not a financial guy. Don't come at me for that. If you disagree, whatever. A lot of people I know, and I can say this for a fact, I know a lot of businesses pulled their marketing spend. So the ad space can change, and some people, it depends on the industry and things like that. But that's when I tell people double down, because if that ad space is opening up, you can take up more space on the internet. So why not? Again, the timing of the year end, summer, festival, international days, Black Friday, Cyber Mondays, things to keep in mind. And how can you build some excitement before you get to those? Those are things that I also encourage some of my clients to do is, let's beat the rush on that instead of just turning it on for that time. Setting up your advertising budget. So there are 2 ways to set up your budget. It's a campaign budget and an ad set budget. So that's CBO and ABO. You'll probably hear it as Advantage campaigns now. Just to be aware, they just changed this like a week ago. That's what they do, change things really fast. So the advantage of a CBO is it simplifies your campaign budget and reduces the number of budgets you need to manage manually. I want you to think of CBO, or Advantage campaign, same thing. So the campaign budget, if you're setting it there, think about that as like an automatic car. You can set the budget here and if you target all of your interest, it will automatically, send your money to the right categories of a campaign, or the right ad sets, I should say, of a campaign. Now, if you set the budget at the ad set level, it's more of a manual thing. You're saying, hey, I want you to spend $10 on this ad set, $20 on this ad set, $30 on this ad set. I do not recommend breaking the spend down like that. You want to keep the spends equal, so it'd be 20, 20, 20, because then you will be able to see, if you give 20 to each option, which one performed the best, turn the other one off. That's what I recommend, and then I recommend doing a campaign budget once you know what ad sets work, and then it'll continue to optimize for it. So those are a couple of those are the two options you have for setting up your budgets once you decide on your budget. After you do, set up your budget, you need to create an ad set that caters to each audience. So I kind of gave an example here of someone who had, maybe a backpack that they were selling. So in this case, we can see that the interest groups were hiking backpack, light hiking, small hiking backpack, and day pack. I actually don't think all of these are actual options in terms of interest groups, but I wanted to give you an idea that you can see that each of these are their own ad set. They're not all combined. You do not want to combine all your ad sets on this level. So this is a great way to make sure you separate your interest, set the budgets at each one of these interests, and then you'll see what works. Very simple. So from I just wanted to put this in here to share with you guys, like, what does it look like? So I talked about CBO, I talked about ABO. What do those actually look like? So on the left, you'll see what it looks like without campaign budget optimization. So that would be ABO. So you can see that each one of those got $10 in ad spend. So this one we can see brought in the most conversions. Now we would say, hey, let's turn off this one and turn off this one and just put all the budget here after about 2 weeks of testing, because we've seen that each one had an equal opportunity with ad spend. Now, on the right, you'll see with the CBO, it'll show you there's more conversions here. But there are some cases where it will overspend in one ad set, and you don't truly know what interest group had the best opportunity to succeed. So I like to start with this side, with the ABO, figure out what's working, and then turn the CBO on, and it'll automatically optimize for your already top performing ad sets. So taking this one step further, and hopefully you love my beautiful, this chart specifically is not for me, but my PowerPoint, I know it's not the most beautiful thing in the world, so bear with me here, guys. But in terms of setting up your campaigns, this is what it looks like. So let's say you have 10 ad sets here, right? We can see ad set 1 did not perform good. Low ad spend. Anyway, the idea is that we identified the top performing ones, ad set 3, 4, 7, 8, and 10. Now, what I want to do after I have set these campaigns is I want to move them over to this new campaign. And I want to start those campaigns I want to separate those as a new campaign and run that because it's all my top performers. Now, I would say after you do that, you can turn that into a CBO because it's going to already optimize for your top performer. So visually, I like to share this. Sometimes this helps. So once you are, you've identified your winning ad sets, this will let you do a couple of things. And this is kind of two-pronged here. It'll let you do a couple of things, but also some things here you need to continue to look at from, to identify as you go through this. So what audience should you continue to target in the future? What kind of visuals are your audience responding to? By which ad and ad set has the most clicks? What interest groups provided the best results? And what kind of CTA is the most effective? Now, there's probably 50 more bullet points I could put here in terms of things to look at or measure or check. But those are some of the things initially. It's, okay, I found an ad set. What do I want to look at to identify what made the effect, what made the change, what made the cost per conversion our best, what all these different things. So that's where you kind of dig into the metric side of things. Then look at your least successful ad set. From this set, you'll be able to get information like what keywords, and I should have put what interest groups might need more budget, need less budget, or should be turned off. And then what graphic styles to not use. So what graphics aren't working. And I could, again, add more stuff here, but we can see what interest groups weren't working either. So several things to test and check there. And that's where, the real money gets made when you're able to start looking at these things and identifying what's not working. I said 1,500 at the beginning of this video, or I don't know, probably halfway through. Once you've decided what your monthly ad spend is, the next step is to properly distribute it based on types of Facebook ads you'll need to see results. So there's top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, and then lifetime value. we're going to not talk about lifetime value or the bottom of the funnel right now. We're just going to top of funnel and middle of the funnel. These are what you need to get your campaigns going. So your top of the funnel for this budget, and this is also this will work for lead gen or e-commerce. I think the way this is set up here, I've done it. But interest group 1, so we could say hiking backpacks. This would be school backpacks. And then another one here. So outdoor backpack. It's 3 different options, right? You get the idea. And then a lookalike of past website visitors is what I suggest. And then broad. That means you don't target anybody. And so each of these are getting 80% of the budget. So that's where this is going to go, because you want to keep that cycle coming in a 30-day window to learn. But on the other hand, we're going to use 20% of the budget to retarget Facebook engagers, Instagram engagers, people who've added to cart, and people who have, visited the website. So those are kind of the breakdown. I think this has worked really well for me. I think it also, again, it depends on your industry. It depends on what your goals are. But this is kind of a good overall structure that I've seen to work consistently. So feel free to take a look at this. If you have any questions on this, let me know. Or if you want me to kind of talk about what I would do in your industry, feel free to leave a comment. And then mistakes to avoid. So giving it too little time. When I got started, I was wanting to see the sale right away. You might have that happen, but you also probably won't have that happen. So give it time. It usually takes about 2 weeks to get through the learning phase for you to be able to look at the data and say, hey, this is and isn't working. The algorithm has to have enough time to get through its learning phase. And I want to add one kind of story to that. I'm working with a client where we spent $200,000 over like a 6 or 7 day period, and they still had to go through the learning phase. This isn't just for, this is for every single type of client. We started off terrible the first day, and then the second and third day, we saw results completely flip. So give it some time. The other mistake to avoid is not spending enough. That's why I don't really encourage people doing a lot of $5 campaigns. It's just not very effective. And then choosing the wrong campaign type. So make sure you're optimizing for conversions and not doing a traffic campaign or a landing page view or whatever other option someone will tell you to do. Optimize for conversion. And then not reading the data correctly. Make sure you're clear on your metrics, like I said in the beginning of the video, and you're starting to maybe you look at your click-through rate. What's a good click-through rate? What's good for my industry? Things like that. So go start learning some more of those things, or go watch some other videos I have talking about that. And then lastly, I'll leave you with keep testing. You're going to probably fail if it's your first time setting it up, second time, third time. I've been doing it for years. I continuously end up testing things that I think will work, don't work, things that I think will never work. And so to that end, let the data guide you. Do not try and assume what the data is going to tell you. I've had clients tell me, we just want to force 25 to 35 years old. Like, hey, give me 3 weeks. Let's keep it all the way open and see where the data falls. We ended up figuring out their most profitable user base was 55 to 65 plus. And so they were obviously very grateful that I was able to, do that for them. So keep testing, test your age groups, test your locations, test your interest groups. A lot of fun things to test. But test one thing at a time, because if you do too many testings on different ad sets, you're not going to know what worked. So that's what I will leave you with, guys. I know this was a longer video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Would love to chat about this stuff. Let me know what your business is, and I'd actually like to kind of explain to you how I'd set it up for your business. All right. Hope you guys have a good one. Bye. Oh, also subscribe, please. All right. Bye.